Okay, so the last time you saw me mucking around with foot drums, I was not having the best time. I haven't completely abandoned this idea, but for the kick snare, which my heel and my toe on my left foot have to be able to rock back and forth, this just isn't going to work. So in the end, I'm actually going to have to go with a much more expensive solution with a bit of DIY tweaking. This is the Roland KD7, which is a professional drum trigger. It's designed exactly for the purpose that I want. And it works in conjunction with a standard kick pedal. So whereas your standard kick pedal would hit a kick drum like this, the KD7, actually I'm just going to do this. It comes with a special kind of beater stick which goes in backwards like that, and it actually hits the drum trigger like that. So that works great as a single unit, but as you know, I want to try and have kick snare with my heel and my toe. So I've actually bought two of these units, two complete units. I'm going to use them back to back. Like that. Kick, snare, kick, snare. But what I need to do is, I need to remove these metal foot pedals that it comes with, remove the base plates and create my own so that these two pedals can be about that close together and one foot can operate both. So that's my project. Well, stage one is pretty much complete now. I've got this little double-ended sled which is kind of holding my beaters in place. So now I've got to make a little double-ended pedal for my heel and toe that's going to hit these two down. Okay, so I've essentially finished the prototype, and it's basically exactly what I'd hoped it would be. The back pedal hits there and the front pedal hits there. Unfortunately, I've made it too short. So it looks like the whole thing needs to be about that much shorter. So I'm going to have to kind of pull everything apart, move these beaters closer together and kind of start the process again. But that's how it works. That's prototyping. Alright, here's a bit of an update. So here is what we've got so far. I've made the rear pedal wider because, as you might remember, I'm going to have three switches here. This one's nice and narrow, that one's nice and wide, and I've made two hinges here so that when I shift my weight to that end or that end, it doesn't twist. Now this basically works as planned, but what I'm finding is when I go to play it, it's not as playable as I would have liked. If I don't have my foot in the exact right position, forward or back, these pedals feel very different and I find it quite hard to play. And I think this is because of just the nature of leverage. Basically, the closer you press to the hinge, the more force you need to press it down. If I try and press here, it's almost impossible for me to push that pedal down. If I go a little bit further up, I can do it. A little bit further up gets quite easy, and there I'm barely pressing at all. So because this pedal here is so short, it's very sensitive to where you press on the pedal. So when I've got my foot here, if I don't have it pressed in exactly the right spot, I find it almost feels like double the effort to press the pedal down. So that's not really a very convenient solution. And I'm beginning to understand why normal kick drum pedals are so long. It's because even if you're only pressing on the very end of it, like that, because the pedal is so long, you get so much more leverage. You actually have a much wider playable area. So the pedal is much less sensitive to whereabouts you actually press with your foot. So I'm going to have to change this design. So I'm actually going to try and arrange these pedals to sit as I'm showing there, which means I'm actually going to have to get an angle grinder out and carve some shapes into these pedals so that they actually can spline through each other. Okay, so I've now modified these two pedals. It looks like I've done them a bit wonky, but it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work. So the way this is going to work is the two pedals are going to essentially interlock with one another like that and allow me to use them simultaneously. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. So I've got a bit more work to do here to kind of neaten things up and, you know, fix things in place properly, but as a proof of concept, this is working really well. So now that I've used the original pedals, but I've cut them so they interlock like this, I've got a much larger sweet spot where I can press with very little effort. It's probably only when I get to about there that it starts getting difficult to press. This whole area up here, very easy, which is very consistent, which is exactly what I want. So both these pedals can move. They don't get in each other's way. And look, you might be wondering, have I weakened these pedals and made them, you know, susceptible to breakage? I really don't think so. I mean, look at them, they're built like a tank. There's just no way I'm going to be playing these hard enough to snap that or anything, you know. I'm not a heavy metal drummer, I'm just sort of tapping away. Yep, this is going to be great. I'm really happy with this. So that's kick and snare sorted out. Next episode is hi-hats and cymbals. See you then.